Hello and welcome everyone. So in this video I would like to discuss about Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952, story note number 8. Okay. So without any further delay, let's get started. In this story note, we have two story about Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Fund Act 1952, its object, scope and applicability. Clear? So applicability. Section 1 subsection 3 provide that subject to section 16 this act applies to every establishment which is a factory engaged in any industry specified in schedule I and in which 20 or more persons are employed. Okay, to any other establishment employing 20 or more persons or class of such establishment which the central government may by notification in the official gazette specify in this behalf. The central government may apply the provision of this act to any establishment employing such number of persons less than 20 as may be specified in the notification, nor less than 2 months notice is to be given by central government to such establishment, where it appears to the Central Provident Fund Commissioner that the employer and the majority of the employee have agreed that the provision of this act should be made applicable to their establishment. He may by notification apply the provision of this act to that establishment on and from the date of such agreement or from any subsequent date specified in such agreement. Once the act is covered to any establishment, it shall continue to apply notwithstanding the number of persons employed therein shall at any time falls below 20. Clear? So जो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है you have to study about all such things. Pension fund, ये important. A pension fund has been created for the purpose of this scheme. The pension fund shall vest in and administered by the central board. The pension scheme may be provided for all or any of the matters in Schedule 2 as detailed below. The employee or class of employee to whom the pension scheme shall apply, the portion of employer contribution to the provident fund which shall be entitled to the pension fund and the manner in which it is credited, the minimum qualifying service for being eligible for pension and the manner in which the employee may be granted the benefit of their past service. Okay, so this is it all about pension fund. Now then पेनल्टी क्या है इसमें? सेक्शन 14 subsection 1 provide that for the purpose of avoiding any payment, whoever knowingly makes or causes to be made any false statement or false representation shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine ₹5,000 or with both. Section 14 subsection 1a provide that an employer who contravenes or makes default in complying with the provision of section 6 as it relates to the payment of inspection charges, administrative charges shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years, but which shall not be less than 1 year, and fine of ₹10,000 in case of default of payment of the employee contribution. Okay, which shall not be less than 6 months, and a fine of ₹5,000 in any other case. Section 14 subsection 1b provide that an employer who contravenes or makes default in complying with the provision of section 6c insofar as it relates to the payment of inspection charges shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year, but which shall not be less than 6 months, and also be liable to fine which may extend to 5,000. Okay. Then so this is it all about the subject matter of Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952. Now we have to discuss all the multiple choice question as well as long type questions. So let's get started. So first, fill in the blanks. Question number 1: if EPF Act is applicable to every establishment employing dash or more person, very important. as you know that EPF Act is applicable to every establishment employing to 20 or more persons, minimum 20. The contribution or employer to the fund is dash of basic wages, DNS allowance and retaining allowance if any. The contribution or employer to the fund is 10%. 10% of basic wages, DNS allowance and retaining allowance if any. Then the pension fund is administered by the dash. The pension fund is administered by the central board. Clear? Then question number 4. The employee deposit link insurance scheme, employee, which is in short called EDLI, IDLI. Employee Deposit Link Insurance Scheme 1976 came into effect from dash. The right answer is 1st September 1976. 1st September 1976. Then question number 5. The contribution to insurance fund is to be remitted by the employer within dash days of the close of the month. Right answer is 15 days. 15 days. The contribution to insurance fund is to be remitted by the employer within 15 days of the close of the month. Then question number 6. The wage limit contribution. The wage limit contribution under the scheme has been fixed at rupees 15,000 with effect from dash 1st September 2014. 1st September 2014. The wage limit contribution under the scheme has been fixed at 15,000 with effect from 1st September 2014. Then question number 7. The central government may give exemption to any establishment considering its dash, that is financial position. The central government may give exemption to any establishment considering its financial position. Okay, then contribution to EPF is payable by dash and dash. Contribution to EPF is payable by employer and employee. Okay, then dash is not covered under the EPF Act. Apprentice is not covered under EPF Act. Then number 10, section 5 double A, situated for the appointment of dash by the central government to assist the central board in the performance of its functions. Right answer is executive committee. Section 5 double A mentioned that for the appointment of executive committee by the central government to assist the central board in the performance of its functions. Then choose the correct answer. Which one of the following will not include in the definition of basic wage? बेसिक वेज में कौन कौन इंक्लूड नहीं है? इन केस ऑफ EPF, DNS अलाउंस यस, ये अलाउ होगा. Which one of the following is not include in the definition of basic wages? बेसिक वेजेस में कौन कौन सा इंक्लूड नहीं है इसमें? ओके, सो in case of EPF Provident Fund, DNS allowance is not included in the definition of basic wage. Overtime not included. Cash value for concession not included. So all of the above. Right answer is choice number D, all of the above. These are not included in the definition of basic wage. Then question number 2, the contribution of employer to insurance fund is dash. The contribution of employer to insurance fund is choice number A, that is 1%. ये 1% था, 1.75 हो गया है, 1% में हो गया है, तो choice number A is the right answer. Okay, then Question number 3. Contribution of 10% to PF is applicable to dash any establishment in which less than 20 employees are employed. Yes, applicable. Contribution of 10% to PF applicable to any establishment in which less than 20 employees are employed. Any establishment declared as Sikh Industrial Company, Jute Company. Okay, so the right answer is choice number D, all of the above. All of the above. Contribution of 10% to Provident Fund is applicable to any establishment in which less than 20 employees are employed. Any establishment declared Sikh Industrial Company, Jute Company. Clear. Then the minimum administrative charges payable by the employer to the fund is dash. Right answer is 500. Minimum administrative charge 500 payable by the employer to the fund. Clear. Then question number 5. The maximum penalty recoverable from the employer who makes the default in payment of any contribution to the fund is dash. 5%. No. 10%. No. We need to know. Right answer is D. That is 25%. The maximum penalty that is recoverable from the employer who makes the default in payment of any contribution to the fund is 25%. Then question number 6. Withdrawal from PF may be allowed for dash marriage of the employer, post matriculation education of children, for the purchase of a dwelling place, or for illness in certain cases. So withdrawal from PF may be allowed for, right answer will be for the purchase of dwelling place. मैरिज के लिए you can apply withdrawal from PF. Post matriculation education children you can't withdraw. For illness in certain cases you can't withdraw, but for the purchase of a dwelling place withdrawal from PF may be allowed. Okay, then question number 7. The employee pension scheme, that is EPS, provides for superannuation fund, orphanage pension. Okay, so right answer is choice number C, both A and B. The employee pension scheme provides for superannuation pension and orphanage pension. Clear. Then question number 8. Contribution of the employer to employees pension scheme is dash. Employer contribution of the employer to employee pension scheme, that is called EPS, is 8.33%. The right answer is choice number A, 8.33%. Then the following cannot be nominated for the purpose of EPF Act. इसमें कौन नॉमिनेटेड नहीं हो सकते फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ EPF एक्ट? वाइफ नॉमिनेट नहीं हो सकते, सॉरी वाइफ नॉमिनेट हो सकते हैं, फादर इन लॉ नॉमिनेट हो सकते हैं, ऑन मैरिड डॉक्टर भी नॉमिनेट, ऑन मैरिड डॉटर भी नॉमिनेट हो सकते हैं, लेकिन सॉन्स ऑफ ए डिसीज सॉन्स हु हैव अटेन्ड मैच्योरिटी can't. So the right answer is choice number B, sons of a deceased sons who have attained maturity can be nominated for the purpose of EPF Act. Okay, then question number 10. While filing appeal to EPF appellate tribunal, the employer has to deposit dash of the amount due from him. The right answer is 75%. Tribunal, the EPF appellate tribunal, filing of appeal to EPF appellate tribunal, the employer has to deposit up to 75% of the amount due from him. That is 75%. Okay. Now state whether true or false. We need to choose whether the following sentences are true or false. First, question number 1. Once the EPF Act is covered, to any establishment, it shall continue to apply, notwithstanding the number of persons employed shall at any time falls below 20. Yes, वो कह रहा है अगर once the EPF Act is covered to any establishment, अगर जे एनी एस्टेब्लिशमेंट के लिए अगर EPF एक्ट वंस एक्ट हो गया है, कवर हुआ है, इट शैल कंटिन्यू टू अप्लाई नॉट विथ स्टैंडिंग the number of person employed shall at any time falls below 20. So this sentence is true. Again, question number 2, the wage limit 15,000 is applicable for the contribution to the fund in respect of international workers. False. This sentence is incorrect. Okay, now question number 3, the employer cannot reduce wages of the employee to avoid his liability under the act. Yes, true. Employer जितना भी wages दे रहा है एम्प्लॉय को, उसको रिड्यूस नहीं कर सकते इन केस टू अवॉइड हिज लाइबिलिटी टू पे EPF. Okay, so the employer cannot reduce wages of the employee to avoid his liability under the act. This sentence is true. Then number 4, if an employee is transferred from one employment to another, the balance at his credit in his PF account cannot be transferred to the new establishment. No, this sentence is false. अगर एम्प्लॉय ट्रांसफर हो रहा है टू न्यू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या फिर न्यू एस्टेब्लिशमेंट, इन दैट केस हिज PF अकाउंट में भी कैन बी carry forward to his new establishment. Okay, so but here it says that if an employee is transferred from one employment to another, the balance at his credit in his PF account cannot be transferred, but it can be transferred. Okay, can be transferred, not cannot be, can be transferred to the new establishment. Okay, now question number 5, the central government may add to amend or vary either you can say prospectively or retrospectively the scheme, pension scheme or the insurance scheme. Yes, this sentence is true. Prospectively or retrospectively the central government may add to amend or vary. Okay, now question number 6, where the pay of an employee exceeds rupees 15,000, the contribution to insurance scheme is restricted to dash, restricted to 15,000. This sentence also true. Where the pay of an employee exceeds rupees 15,000, the contribution to insurance scheme is restricted to 15,000. अगर पे ऑफ एन एम्प्लॉय एक्सीड हो रहा है 15,000 से एक्सेस in case of basic wages, the contribution to insurance scheme is restricted to 15,000. Okay, this sentence is true. Now again, question number 7, contribution to pension scheme is recoverable when the employee crosses 58 years of age. No, contribution to pension scheme is recoverable when the employee crosses 58 years of age. No, this sentence is false. Now then question number 8, the employer shall in the first instance pay the contribution payable by himself and also on behalf of the member employed by him through a contractor. Yes, this sentence is true. The employer shall in the first instance pay the contribution payable by him and also on behalf of the member employed by him through a contractor. Yes, it can be, it's possible. Now, so this sentence is true. Now, number 9, the PF scheme is applicable to the tea factory in the state of Assam. No, this sentence is false. The PM scheme is not applicable to the tea factories in the state of Assam. Number 10, the EPF Act is applicable to any establishment registered under the Cooperative Society Act. 1920, 1912. No, this sentence also false. EPF Act is not applicable to any establishment registered under the Cooperative Society Act 1912. Okay, I have discussed all the short question, multiple type question, whether choose the correct answer or true or false. So you need to revise them as many times as possible. So now we have to discuss the model questions, long type questions. What are the schemes available in the EPF Act? What are the consequences if an employer makes default in the payment of any contribution to the fund? Yeah, important. Under what circumstances advance can be received by employer from the PF fund? Under what circumstances advance can be received, sorry yes employer नहीं होगा, employee. Under what circumstances advance can be received by employee from the PF fund? Okay, then discuss the matters provided for the insurance fund under the schedule. How many due from employer is determined in respect of PF, pension scheme or the insurance scheme? Explain the provisions relating to EPF appellate tribunal. Discuss the EPF appellate tribunal is important. Discuss the procedure involved in review of order of the officer passed under section 7A of the Act. Describe the procedure for the payment of assured benefit in case of no nomination is filed by the employee. Narrate the features of employee pension scheme, EPS, yeah, important. Define the term appropriate government and employee. So I have selected all the important questions for your examination point of view. Practice them and revise at least 4 to 5 times. Okay, so इसके नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे स्टडी नोट नंबर 9, दैट इज एम्प्लॉय स्टेट इंश्योरेंस एक्ट 1948. So this is it, all about Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952. Thank you so much.